Hey people, it is Sunday, July 27th. The time is 4:53 in the afternoon. It is a oppressively hot 33 or maybe even 34 degrees Celsius. Feeling more like 40 degrees Celsius with the humidex. And I am on a shady side street here, Logan Avenue, in the east end of the city. And I'm making my way north, and just up ahead is Eastern Avenue. I'm not too far from the Portlands area, which is just a bit to the south of here. And I was recording a video through the Portlands before this. Completely out in the baking sun for a long period of time. There's no shade there. And suffice it to say, I was starting to feel pretty overheated and even a bit woozy, so I had to find a shady spot to sit down for about 10 minutes before I was ready to start recording another video. And I opted to start here on a shady street because I think once I get onto Eastern Avenue, I'm not going to have much shade again, and I'm going to be walking west along Eastern Avenue into downtown. This is a major east-west thoroughfare, parallel to Queen Street, which is just a bit further to the north, or Lakeshore Boulevard to the south. And it's a bit of a traffic corridor for the most part, passing through what was a semi-industrial area that is gradually transitioning into something a bit different as time goes on, with more and more residential buildings sort of replacing or being integrated into some of the old industrial buildings. I think the other side of the street has some shade, so I'm going to go over there. It's been a while, I guess, since I've done a walk through here. I've never done a walk along here on a hot summer day before. I like some of the old housing stock along Eastern Avenue. Sort of a gritty late 19th century, early 20th century style of row houses for the most part. And they make you wait a really long time just to cross the street. One of my pet peeves in many parts of the city. All right, so I guess we'll say goodbye to the shady Logan, and at least I have some shade here. Walking up against the building here on the north side of Eastern Avenue. It does make a huge difference. If I was just right there in the sun, I think I'd probably start feeling those woozy effects again. But there are some neat old buildings here, as I mentioned, old industrial buildings. And hopefully my camera doesn't overheat. That happened already while I was recording my previous walk. It shut down. Luckily I was able to finish that video after I let the camera cool down for a few minutes. Ah, this is some very nice shade here. But short-lived. Yeah, days like this I usually opt to stay in and don't venture out until the evening. And that was my original plan for today, was to go and record these walks in the evening, closer to the sunset hour, but for some reason I thought, let's just go out and face the heat. I'm starting to think I should have stuck with my original plan. Oh well. No shade here. It is miserable. Absolutely miserable. I know some people enjoy this, but that seems kooky to me. Let's see, what is there to enjoy about this? If you're just lying somewhere, I guess, not moving, it's a whole different experience. But I tend to be a pretty fast walker. Although I do see plenty of people jogging in this weather also. I saw that earlier down by the waterfront in the Portlands area. Let's see if I can finish this video without getting heat stroke. And there's not much in the way of retail along here, obviously, as you can see. Can't even pop in and just buy a nice cold bottle of water or juice or something. Here's the new Ontario line is going to be passing through the area, the new subway. It's elevated along this stretch. It goes back underground a bit further along though. It begins as an elevated line and then it goes underground as it makes its way south, and then it goes above ground again and then underground again. This whole area is just a construction site. And the East Harbour Transit Hub will be located right over here. It's meant to be a major new station in Toronto, where GO trains as well as the new subway will have stops. And the initial design was a pretty grand looking, impressive building. But of course, the cheapening took effect, and now the latest design rendering is far, far less impressive. Pretty basic, bare bones, in my opinion. That sort of thing happens way too often these days. No one wants to invest into anything grand and awe-inspiring anymore when it comes to city building, with a few exceptions, I guess, here and there. All right, well, I do have a cool breeze, which feels kind of nice, but the sun is just doing everything it can to basically make me want to just give up. Just call it quits. And here's Broadview Avenue. And the main reason I wanted to walk along here was just to check out the awesome skyline views. I'm gonna run here because this is not giving me a walk signal. And it'll probably turn red before it even ever does change to a walking signal there. I've learned from past experiences that this intersection sucks if you're on foot. Just go when you get the chance. As I was saying, as you walk along Eastern Avenue heading in this direction, you get an awesome skyline view that is ever changing. I think it's changed since the last time I recorded it, actually, so I'm gonna head up there. Got never-ending traffic, never-ending construction nonsense. All these cars are going onto the Don Valley Parkway. Looks like the sidewalk is blocked off due to the construction, wouldn't you know it? Looks like they do have a walking path though. This wasn't here last time I walked this way. Well, maybe I'll get a bit of a different perspective now that I'm walking in what were the traffic lanes instead of the sidewalk. I feel like I'm walking along a freeway here. It more or less is, really. It just has a sidewalk, or it did. There's the Regent Park neighborhood over there. I'm actually going to end up walking through there a bit later. But here's where you get that awesome skyline view. Part of the skyline, just a small part of it really, but still very impressive. You get part of the financial district and the South Core, including the new Sky Tower, which is under construction on the left. It has about 20 more floors to go, so it'll be a lot taller when it's topped out than it is right now. 106 stories actually. I think it's somewhere between 80 and 85 stories up right now. All right. And that's as far as I can go in this direction. But at least I'll be heading into some shade here. This will take us down to Underpass Park at Lower River Street. And I'm holding off the heat stroke, I think. I'm at the point though where I am physically craving coolness, you know? Like, this shade feels like heaven right here. I'm craving coolness and water, cold liquid, something. My body is telling me, hey, you need this. You need this other stuff now. You don't need any more of that hot stuff. You need the cool stuff now. And look at that, eh? More construction underneath Eastern Avenue here at Underpass Park. It is Sunday, so all the construction sites are dormant right now. All right, let's head across to the shady side. There's more of Underpass Park. That part is open. And Lower River. Feels good to be in a neighborhood of sorts and not in a sort of sun-baked semi-industrial wasteland. I'll stand in the shade here while I wait for the light to change. Across King Street. Here's where King and Queen merge together. King Street ends here. Queen continues on eastward. Whew, feeling the wooziness a little bit. I think it was just that long, prolonged walk around the Portlands without any shade. Normally I can walk around on a really hot day through downtown or other neighborhoods as long as there's a shady side of the street, which there usually is, right? That's usually all I need. Well, there's no shady side of anything in the Portlands. Might as well be walking through the open desert. Alright, we're at Queen. I seriously feel like a vampire from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or any hint of sunlight touching my skin and I'll just turn to dust and burst into flames. Just call me Spike, I guess, for this video. All right, now River Street, heading north. We're still in Corktown here, but we'll be crossing into Regent Park once we cross Shooter Street up ahead. See, even in this heat and humidity, I still walk a lot faster than some people with much longer legs than me. I can't seem to walk any slower. I feel like I'll tip over or something. My legs just want to move quickly.
That's funny, okay? Yeah. She does.
All right, crossing Shooter. Always like this CN Tower view here. Although that new building under construction is partially blocking it now. That's a common occurrence in the city these days. CN Tower views being lost as new buildings rise. Welcome to Regent Park. This was Canada's largest public housing project when it was originally developed, starting in the late 1940s through the 60s, and then over the years it sort of became a rough area known for crime and gang activity. And it was actively avoided by many people. But starting around 20 years ago, a major redevelopment process began where they started demolishing the old public housing buildings consisting of townhouses and low-rise and high-rise apartments and replacing them with new buildings and making it more of a mixed income neighborhood. So it has lots of these new towers and some mid-rise buildings. Some are condos, some are apartments, some are public housing, rent geared to income. And they also reconnected a lot of the streets, which were sort of cut off when they built the original Regent Park. The street grid was interrupted by the design of the new neighborhood with laneways and whatnot connecting the buildings in place of the old street grid. And those laneways became known as sort of dangerous places to be avoided, so they have reintegrated the old street network and brought it back to how it was before. And you can see everything is quite new and shiny looking, and lots of new retail and restaurants are in the neighborhood now that there was hardly anything of the sort before. Got shops, restaurants, grocery store, Rabba, medical offices. Of course, you have the weed stores. Also bank branches and a full-size grocery store at Dundas and Parliament, the Freshco. And the designs of the new buildings are pretty nice for the most part. There's still a small section of the old original Regent Park left that is yet to be redeveloped over by Gerrard Street, just to the north. But it's in the process of being demolished. And you stay here in the shade. That guy's a member of the Cool Dads Club. So the reputation of the neighborhood is much better now. Although you do still hear of incidents taking place in the neighborhood. It hasn't completely shaken off its old ways, I guess. But visually it looks pretty nice now. Nothing like how it used to look. Most people unfamiliar with the city would probably just walk through here or drive through here, not even realize what this neighborhood used to be all about or what it was known for. An aquatic center over here. And there's lots of community events taking place in the park itself here, Regent Park. It's both a park and a neighborhood by that name. Well, I see a fountain over there. I'm tempted to literally go and walk through it. Maybe with my mouth open. And you can see a little bit of the old buildings off in the distance, brown brick buildings. All that's left of the old projects. I've done a few videos before over on that side showing some of the demolition in progress. I've done several Regent Park videos actually, if you're interested to see more of the neighborhood and also talk about more of its history. Some of them go back 5 years or so when a lot of the old part hadn't been torn down yet. I'm kind of glad I recorded those videos then. Because once it's gone forever. So continuing along Dundas. Sackville Street, looking up towards Gerrard. There's the old neighborhood church. They were just filming a movie or TV show on that street the other day. Is this a water fountain or a drinking fountain over here? No, it's just water dripping down. What is that all about? Well, I know what I'm doing with this water. Let me smell it. The smell is okay. It's not coming from an apartment, it's coming from a spigot up there on the side of the building. Well, I'm wiping it on my face. I'm not gonna drink it by any means, but it did feel good going on the face. That guy who walked up seemed to be doing the same thing. I guess it's kind of there, maybe for that reason. I'll just tell myself that. Whew, I could feel life surging back into my body after I splashed all that cold water on my face. And RBC. This one's a walkable distance from my place, but I usually go to the one at Yonge and Gerrard actually. It's a bit closer, I think. Not that I go to the bank very often unless I need to use the ATM for something. But we're almost at Dundas Street, which would take us out of Regent Park, but on this corner is the Freshco I mentioned, which is very cold with refrigerator-like air conditioning, so I'm actually going to head in there. And maybe get myself a cool beverage for the rest of my short journey home, less than a 10-minute walk home from here. I'm going to soak up some AC though. I hope you enjoyed this almost heat stroke inducing walk. Starting at Eastern Avenue in the East End and making our way west over the Don River, checking out those skyline views. And then up River Street to Dundas for a walk through Regent Park, talking a little bit about the area. So leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Also, be sure to hit that notification bell. That way you won't miss any of my videos. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal, as well as via my merch store. Or you can also support the channel by becoming a channel member, or by sending a super thanks if you prefer. And you can find me on Instagram also under KContinuum. So thanks for watching, and thanks to all the channel members. And stay cool during the heat wave. I don't want anybody getting heat stroke now. And be sure to keep checking back because, as always, I will continue to not get heat stroke, hopefully.